You're nothing but a detour. That's what she told him after 12 loyal years. She left him for her true love, mocked him, humiliated him, and thought he'd crumble. But what she didn't know was that he had been planning something. Something cold, calculated, and devastating. By the time she realized the truth, it was already too late. The man she discarded had turned into the storm she couldn't survive. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 39, live in Houston, Texas, and until recently, I believed in fighting for love no matter what. For 12 long years, I built my life around one woman, Vanessa Moore. She wasn't just my wife. She was my heartbeat, my future, my reason for working overtime and saving every extra dollar. And yet, it only took one night, one conversation in the kitchen, to reduce all of it to ash. It was a Thursday. Rain was tapping against the windows, and I was cooking shrimp Alfredo, her favorite. I still remember the way the garlic filled the house, the way the kitchen light buzzed slightly. I had no idea that while I stirred the sauce, she was preparing to burn everything we'd ever built. Vanessa walked in. No hug, no smile, just cold eyes and her arms crossed over her chest like armor. Her lips curled, not in a smirk, but something sharper. I'm moving out, she said. I blinked, still holding the wooden spoon. Moving out? I asked slowly. What? She looked me dead in the eye. I'm going back to Ryan. He's the one I should have married. Not you. Ryan. The name hit me like ice water. I hadn't heard it in years. He was the guy before me. The one she claimed broke her heart so badly she'd never love again. Apparently, that heartbreak had healed quite nicely behind my back. I've been seeing him for months, she said like it was nothing. All those late-night strategy meetings at work. Lies. The out-of-town conferences. More lies. I've been with him. I should have said something. Yelled. Demanded answers. But I stood still, silent, my heart thudding behind my ribs like a warning bell. She stepped closer, pulled a photo off the wall. It was our wedding picture, and ripped it in two. Her next words cut deeper than scissors ever could. You're a placeholder, Ethan. A stepping stone. A comfortable, boring mistake. Ryan, he's the love of my life. Then, as if that wasn't enough, her sister Morgan emerged from the hallway. I hadn't even heard the door open. Morgan had always looked at me like I was beneath them, too average, too grounded. She smirked, chewing gum like she was watching a soap opera. Come on, Vanessa. He's not going to fight back. He never does. You deserve better. I stood there, shrimp Alfredo burning on the stove behind me, watching the two of them laugh. And something inside me shifted. Something I didn't recognize at first. It wasn't heartbreak. It wasn't even rage. It was clarity. All right, I said. Just that. One word. Vanessa raised a brow. That's it. I nodded. That's it. If you want out, you've got it. That night, I signed the separation agreement. I gave her the car, the guest house, even my share of the retirement fund. She grinned like she'd won the lottery. But what she didn't know was that I'd already started planning weeks ago. I wasn't the naive, desperate husband they thought I was. I'd seen the cracks long before she ever opened her mouth. And I'd quietly, carefully, started building my revenge. Not loud, not messy, silent, precise, destructive. You know what they say, still waters run deep. Vanessa thought I was passive, predictable, the kind of man who would drown in heartbreak while she ran off to chase her real love. But what she didn't realize was that beneath my silence, there was movement, planning, precision, revenge that didn't come with shouting, but with signatures, silence, and strategy. Weeks before that kitchen confrontation, I already knew something was wrong. Vanessa had changed. She'd started putting on makeup just to go to the gym, taking phone calls in the garage with the engine running, and her laughter, it didn't sound like mine anymore. It had this distant echo, like she was laughing at someone else's jokes. Not mine, not ours. I didn't confront her, didn't cry. I just watched, collected, calculated. The first clue, a name on her phone bill, Rachel Pilates. Only, Vanessa hated Pilates. She used to joke it was just yoga for people who want to suffer more. When I checked the call log, this Rachel was calling at midnight, 2 a.m., even during our anniversary dinner when she stepped outside to take a client call. So I dug deeper. I cross-checked the number through our mobile account's backend. It wasn't Rachel. It was Ryan Hendricks, her ex. The same man who once left her crying on a bathroom floor after cheating on her with with a college girl. And now, she was crawling back to him, while standing on my spine. That night, while she slept beside me, I opened her laptop. Password was still my birthday. Funny how she never bothered to change that. Inside her browser history were Airbnb rentals, private browser tabs, and a shared doc titled New Life Budget. She was planning a future without me, so I started planning a future without her. And here's where I made my first move. I met with Grant Ellis, my lawyer of 9 years. A quiet guy in his 60s with zero tolerance for drama. He glanced at me over his glasses when I walked in and asked only one thing. Do you want to win, or do you want peace? Both, I said. We started building the case. Every dollar sheet transferred without consent. Every text, call, and receipt. I bought a baby monitor off Amazon and hid the microphone in the guest bedroom vent. It picked up phone calls she made while folding laundry or talking to Morgan while sipping wine and laughing about how clueless Ethan is. She thought she was clever, but I had already installed screen recording software on her laptop. Every message, every plan, every betrayal. I watched it all from my office computer like it was a live betrayal show. She called me boring, but boring gets things done. And then I pulled up the property deed. The house was in both our names. But what she didn't know was the down payment came entirely from a trust fund my grandmother had left me. And I had the paper trail, the wire transfer, the trust deed notarized in 2012. Legally, that house wasn't 50-50. It was 100% mine until I decided otherwise. But that wasn't enough. I wanted to make sure the man she was running to wasn't just a fantasy. I needed to break the illusion. I searched Ryan Hendricks. What I found? Delicious. His social media screamed fake success. Pictures with leased cars, rented suits, and motivational quotes like hustle until your haters hire you. Classic. I used a private investigator named Lewis, a guy we used occasionally in corporate fraud investigations. Within 48 hours, I had a full folder. Ryan was knee-deep in debt. 2 failed business ventures, both under investigation. One for unpaid taxes, the other for fraudulent PPP loans during the pandemic. He had a suspended driver's license, owed child support in 2 states. And the cherry on top? He was currently renting a studio apartment in the worst part of Austin and had applied for food assistance last quarter. And that was the man Vanessa wanted to build a future with? I smiled, not out of joy, out of control. Then came the delivery. I printed the entire file, clean, bound, every page marked. I placed it inside a plain brown envelope, stuck a Post-it on the front. Before your sister signs anything, maybe show her this. I dropped it at Morgan's law office reception. No return address. No fingerprints. Just quiet chaos, wrapped in manila. Then came the next phase, the financial trap. I sold our house in 10 days. A buddy of mine, Liam, a real estate agent, helped fast-track it. The buyer? A friend I trusted. We sold it under market value on purpose. I wanted the illusion of loss to sting. Vanessa was entitled to 50% legally, but I made sure her portion was taxed, audited, and trimmed with legal fees stacked up from her unauthorized transfers. I filed a lien, quietly, based on her breach of financial conduct in our joint account. She didn't even notice. When her cut finally landed in her bank account, she texted me, furious. Vanessa, this isn't right. Where's the rest of my money? Me. Everything's fair. Ask your lawyer. Vanessa, I don't need one. I trusted you. I didn't reply. I wanted her to feel that silence, that void, because soon, that silence would become an avalanche. The first crack came sooner than I expected. 3 days after the house sale cleared, I got a call from Tanya, our old real estate agent. She sounded hesitant, like someone walking barefoot through glass. Ethan, hey, did you really sell the house to Josh Winters? Yeah, I said casually. Why? She exhaled. Because Vanessa and her sister just showed up there this morning. Suitcases, boxes, the whole thing. Said they were ready to move in. Thought you promised it to them. I didn't laugh. I didn't even smile. I just said, that's strange. Because I never promised them a damn thing. That was the beginning of the end. Apparently, Vanessa never thought to check if the sale had gone through. She assumed, like always, that I'd roll over and let her have what she wanted. But when Josh opened the door and asked who the hell they were, and why they were on his porch with scented candles and a cat carrier, reality hit her like a train. And she didn't take it well. The next morning, I received another message. Vanessa, Ryan's car got declined at dinner last night. His car got towed. He says it's temporary. Just a funding delay. Can you send the rest of my house money today? I stared at the message for a long time. Not because I was torn, but because I already knew. The previous week, I'd followed Ryan in my spare time. Drove an hour and a half to a pawn shop outside Waco. Watched from across the street as he walked in, clutching something shiny and delicate in his hand. Vanessa's bracelet. The one I gave her for our 10th anniversary. A custom-made, engraved silver band with her birthstone. He sold it for $240. She didn't know. Not yet. And I didn't plan to tell her. I let the silence speak for itself. But while that was crumbling, something else was brewing. The anonymous envelope I had dropped off at Morgan's firm, it had detonated. Morgan, ever the proud attorney, had bragged at her firm's Friday meeting about how her sister and Ryan were launching a new app together. She even listed Ryan as a potential tech consultant for a client's startup. Bad move. The client's team ran a standard background check. What they found? A walking disaster. Fraud charges. Bankruptcy history. 2 paternity suits. Pending legal disputes in Travis County. The fallout was immediate. Morgan was suspended pending internal investigation for professional negligence. Her managing partner called it a catastrophic lapse in judgment. At 2:14 a.m., I got the message. Morgan, I don't know what you sent, but Vanessa's spiraling, and I'm being dragged through hell. Just tell me what you want. Please. Help us. I muted her number. No response. Just silence. The silence they used to mock. It had become the loudest consequence of all. Then came the implosion of Ryan himself. Turned out, Ryan had been recording phone calls. Not for leverage, not for blackmail, but because he thought he was documenting the journey for a memoir. A narcissist with a fantasy. But one of those recordings, it leaked. A 2-minute audio clip. Vanessa's voice, loud and clear. Ethan was just my safety net. I never really loved him. He was convenient. A placeholder. I used him until I found what I really deserved. And then Morgan chimed in, laughing. He's too soft to fight back. You'll walk all over him. Watch. The clip got uploaded to a private Facebook group. College friends, ex-coworkers, mutual connections. And as luck would have it, one of my high school friends still in that group sent it to me with a message. You okay, man? This is sick. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the audio to Vanessa's mother. A devout woman, proud churchgoer, and diehard believer in family values. And then I sat back. Let the storm rage. 5 days later, my cousin Amber sent a text. Amber, everything's collapsing. Ryan's gone. Vanessa's in pieces. Morgan's jobless and under review. Their parents kicked them out. It's bad, Ethan. It's really bad. Please, they're asking for help. Help. No. I was sitting on the balcony of my new condo, sipping black coffee, working remote for a new firm that valued my loyalty. The city lights stretched out before me, calm and undisturbed. I turned off my phone. I didn't need to say anything. My silence had become my statement. They destroyed themselves. I just gave them the mirror. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, the kind that wraps itself around you like a blanket. I had just finished organizing the last bookshelf in my condo. Alphabetical order, genre tags, all neat, all mine. My space was peaceful. Mine alone. For the first time in years, the silence around me wasn't heavy. It was healing. Then came a knock. 3 gentle taps. I wasn't expecting anyone. No deliveries. No visitors. I opened the door without checking the peephole, and there she was. Vanessa. Except this wasn't the woman I'd married. And it wasn't the smug, triumphant version who'd stood in my kitchen weeks ago, slicing through me with her words. This version looked small, deflated. Her once perfect hair hung in limp waves, her eyes sunken, mascara smudged as if she'd cried more than she'd slept. She wore a coat too thin for the cold and clutched it like armor she no longer believed in. She didn't speak right away. Her lips parted, then closed, then parted again, like she was struggling to find the right script but had forgotten her lines. Can we talk? She asked finally, voice barely a whisper. I didn't move. I should have said no. Should have shut the door. But some part of me, maybe curiosity, maybe the need to witness her unraveling with my own eyes, stepped aside and let her in. She walked slowly to the kitchen table and sat. The same table we once argued over dinner at, laughed over wine, and planned fake futures we'd never live. Now, she looked like she didn't belong in the world anymore. Ryan's gone, she said, avoiding my eyes. Took the last of the money. Said I was baggage. Said I was just a pretty face until the cash ran dry. I sat across from her, silent. My arms crossed. My jaw clenched. I wouldn't give her a lifeline. Not yet. I lost everything, she continued. My job. My savings. My parents won't even take my calls. Morgan's under review and says it's all my fault. Maybe it is. She looked up at me, eyes glassy. I know I broke everything. I thought I was chasing something real. I thought I was in love. But he never loved me. I see that now. I didn't flinch. Did you ever love me? Her lips trembled. I think I did. In the beginning. But then life happened. You were so stable. So calm. I got bored. I wanted something exciting. There it was. The root of it all. She didn't fall out of love. She fell out of drama. And thought destruction would somehow bring her back to life. I nodded slowly. You didn't just destroy a marriage, Vanessa. You made a mockery of loyalty. Tears streamed down her face now. She didn't wipe them. I know. And I don't expect forgiveness. I don't know what to do anymore. You thought maybe I'd help you. I finished for her. That I'd throw you a rope while you drown in the water you poisoned. Her sob broke. She covered her face with trembling hands. I'm sorry, she whispered. No, I said. You're just sorry it didn't work out with him. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for where you ended up. She looked up. Ethan, can't we try again? Please. I'll do anything. That was when I leaned forward, calm, composed, and razor sharp. When you tore up our wedding photo, Vanessa, you didn't just rip a picture. You ripped the last part of me that could have ever said yes again. I'm mourning this already. I buried the version of me that would have fought for you. Silence. Then, softly, I don't hate you, Vanessa. I just don't respect you. And I don't help people I don't respect. She didn't try again. She didn't scream or beg. She stood slowly, every movement weighted with defeat. She walked to the door without another word, and for a moment, I saw her hand pause on the handle, as if waiting for one last miracle. I gave her none. She left, and I never saw her again. 9 months have passed since that knock on my door. 9 months since the woman who once mocked me for being too safe stood trembling in my kitchen, empty-handed, with nothing left but regret and mascara-stained memories. And you know what? I never responded to her again. Not in messages, not in letters, not even in passing. My revenge had never needed yelling. It had always been this quiet, brutal peace. Life changed. Drastically. I sold everything tied to our past. The silverware set from our wedding registry. The laugh, love, sign she insisted belonged above our couch. Even the wristwatch she gave me on our 5th anniversary. I donated most of it, sold the rest. Every item removed felt like dust finally clearing from a long-forgotten mirror. I took the money and started something new. Something mine. A scholarship fund at my old university, named after my mother, not Vanessa. I didn't make a big announcement. No Facebook posts. Just a quiet email to the dean and a check that covered 4 full-ride scholarships for underprivileged students. A seed planted from ashes. And I built something else too. A consulting firm of my own. 3 employees now. A small but thriving operation. I work from home most days, the condo filled with sunlight, fresh coffee, and not a trace of her perfume. I keep it that way. Every now and then, I check my backup phone, the one linked to my old email. The inbox is full, unread. Vanessa, Morgan, even her mother. Some messages are angry, others apologetic. Most are just desperate, asking for understanding, for closure, for the man they thought would always be their safety net. But I don't open them. I never will. Not out of pettiness, but because I learned something powerful. Sometimes the deepest revenge is doing nothing at all. Not chasing, not replying, just growing in silence while they collapse in the echo chamber of their own bad choices. I saw Vanessa once, by accident, outside a job placement center in Houston. She looked thinner, older. Her coat still too thin. She didn't see me, and I didn't make a sound. She walked by, unaware that the man she destroyed had already healed. And I stood there, coffee in hand, watching her disappear into the crowd. Not with hate, not with joy, just with peace. Because that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't define you, unless you let it. And as for me, I'm not the man she left behind anymore. I'm the man who learned that silence is the most deafening revenge of all.